beautiful people. Welcome to Never Get Busted Live. We've got a... Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Never Get Busted Live. We've got a quick, short show for you. These are going to be my videos. You know I do a live show every Tuesday night where I stream 2 or 3 hours. Well, instead of doing videos and posting them, I just don't work as well unless I'm live. We've got 2 videos to show you. One, have you ever seen an entire department tweaking? I mean, these guys are snorting pills or something. And then I'm going to talk about my own drug use when I was a cop. And then the next video and the final video is going to be a trooper absolutely losing his biscuits on a traffic stop. I've never seen anything like it. Let's get started and watch these tweaker cops together.
What am I being arrested for?
Well, that's it. Criminal trespass, possession of stolen
Allergies.
Now leave or no?
I gave you that opportunity.
At
this point, you know, that opportunity.
There right now.
Josh, are we going to... I've heard of this yet. No, it's not. It's been a court order, probated, all that stuff. Property owner has asked us to come here. My question to you, are you going to leave? How are you going to leave? You can't go in the car.
I assume on foot.
Okay. Do you have any property here you need to get before you leave?
I do.
What all? Has to be quick. We ain't going to take out couches, all that stuff.
You gonna follow me, Chavez?
I'll come with you.
Not these guys. I don't know these guys.
Okay, now for some of you who've never tweaked before, like I have, unfortunately, but sort of fortunately, I'm a former drug addict, and my drug of choice was methamphetamine. And before that, I was a police officer, one of the country's best narcotics officer, and I could spot when I pulled somebody over if they were tweaking or not. And what you look for is you look for jaw grinding. You look for blank, serious stares because people that are tweaking on methamphetamine do not laugh. And then, of course, you look for the nose stuff. You watch these officers with their blank stares, their straight face. Every now and then you'll catch their jaw grinding, and then you'll see the nose twitching. Let's give it a watch.
Had her hands full of that.
Yeah. We checked Wayne up.
I don't know if I told her. I just leave it here.
Yeah, that's what I told Josh. I mean, has anyone ran him?
Watching them makes me want to go poop. That'll be funny to any of you who's tweaked before.
Not that I'm familiar with.
Case. Oh, okay. So I think that guy told Chavez he's going to kick it.
It's...
He's really...
How come it's not slid over all the way?
I'm not going to argue that with you.
Asking you, how can I be charged? Is policy still effective?
Okay. Look at this guy over in the right corner. See him just kind of staring off into space? And they're all wandering around doing nothing. That's why people, tweakers, methamphetamine addicts, their houses are messy because they're busy all day long doing nothing. Nothing gets done.
This is my fault. It's going to be kind of... Where Jeffrey Hamilton used to live, you familiar with
I went to school.
soft armor. Who gave it to you, Todd? It was just left in there from there.
That licking, and see, and they all know each other's tweaking. I don't know if you've been around people doing cocaine in a group and stuff, and then when somebody walks in who's not doing it, we all know that we're doing it, and you have kind of that we know we're doing drugs vibe and nobody else knows. That's exactly what's happening here. These guys are snorting pills or something.
Huh? It's a part of this house, and that when the person died, they told him not to drive the vehicle, not to be at this house.
and then he's been told multiple times, and so they reported it. Y'all need anything?
Could you give the keys to the Mustang back to or whoever's staying with the Mustang? Mike. It's his Mike Moffett. I'm assuming. So. Yep.
I done think it for him.
Apparently, some guy ran over there to Mike's house too. It was acting sketchy.
Today?
So.
I guarantee if you drug test these men, they would all pop hot for drugs.
Do we need to go over there?
Huh?
Do we need to go check on them?
I didn't know if it was that guy. Some guy they said was with.
Somebody in the comments asked, did I shoot up meth? Yes, that was my favorite way of delivery. I'm not glorifying drug use at all, kids. Stay away from meth.
They got me in fucking cuffs for trying to take my fucking dick. Loosen them up a little bit, man. Don't be a dick. Come on, please.
Hold on.
This is supposed to be my fucking ride, dude.
Okay. Do you want to turn your property over to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Wife
My
of that
left
nose.
foot.
So the reason you're going to jail, you damaged the door. You forced entry to a residence that doesn't belong to you. I understand you got property.
The only
and
one
stuff.
not
That's why I'm
tweaking
charging you
is
with
the
assault.
guy they're arresting.
They didn't take that guy who murdered my fucking grandfather, so
I'll be able to make mine tonight.
What happened?
And we gotta get, what's his name? What's his name? Michael Moffett?
That's him pulling up. That's him pulling up. Here, I'll just take him down with
pulling
you.
up?
That's Mike Moffett.
Oh, are you David?
no, I'm Daniel.
Daniel Burke? Mr. Burke?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. We were mind carrying these down if you want to grab those pistols.
Everything in the vehicle secure?
Yeah.
We're good with it?
None in the chambers.
No, we're ready for it. You got two extra bullets for it.
Oh, yeah. Alrighty.
We finally got the 1013 order on him, and we were trying to make him get him to get in the car. He looked at me and said, "I'm gonna knock the shit out of you."
Whoop, there's his.
I think it does. I think it's got parts of it.
Aye. Okay, now I promised you I'd talk about my drug use when I was a cop. I did cocaine for the first time when I was a police officer. Let me tell you what happened. First of all, my drug use was not extensive at all when I was a young man. I grew up in the trailer parks of East Texas where we drank a lot. And actually, we would beat kids up if we heard of them smoking pot. That stated I smoked pot twice before I became a cop. One time was in college, and I loved it. I kind of hallucinated. It was during an overnight debate tournament. We were in a hotel, and my roomie had some weed. He said, I'm going to get you high, Barry. Second time I smoked weed, I was helping a farmer load firewood, and he broke out a joint and started smoking it, and he handed it to me, and I smoked it and got high. I went home high, and I was paranoid thinking my dad would figure out what was going on. Of course, he didn't. 3 days later, that farmer died in a car wreck. He rolled his truck, and I'm like, oh, my God, that was the marijuana that caused that, and it just freaked me out. So fast forward about 20 years, and I become a police officer. For whatever reason, I became one of the best narcotics officers. I worked for the Permian Basin Drug Task Force. I left there to go back to my former police department, Gladewater Police Department, because my plan was to bust all the drugs in East Texas and run for sheriff. So while that was going on, of course, because I'm a canine trainer, I kept cannabis, heroin, methamphetamine, and cocaine in my house and in my patrol car all the time. Can you hear that fan? Is that a problem? No. Oh, all the time. Thank you, baby. Thank you, baby. Me is our producer. So, and my wife. So, yeah, I kept those training aids in my house. And all those years that I trained dogs with drugs, I never was tempted to use them. I didn't even think of them as marijuana and cocaine and heroin. I just thought of them as training aids. Well, when I went to Gladewater, and I had been arresting people for 8 years for drugs. And I went to Gladewater, and I started, every night I made a drug arrest. I made a drug arrest every day. Any day I wanted to go on the highway, I could make a drug arrest. In fact, I would go around Texas teaching other departments how to do highway interdiction. And my pitch to them was, I'll teach you a 3-day class. On the 3rd day, I'll go out on the highway with whatever man you choose, and you can film me making a drug arrest. If I don't make a drug arrest in your jurisdiction, I'll foot the bill. I'll pay for the hotel, the meals, and everything. But if I make a drug arrest, you got to pay for everything. And I never had to pay for anything because I can make a drug arrest every day. And I started thinking, what is it about? I remember weed a little bit, but that was 20 years ago. What is it about weed and cocaine that people are willing to go to prison for it? I got to find out. So I was living in a log cabin in Gilmer, Texas, working for Gladewater Police Department. I'll never forget it. I was married to my first wife at that time, my wife of 15 years. And I told her I want to smoke a little pot. I want us to smoke a little weed. So I rolled some up the best I could. By the way, I learned how to roll pot in the academy, in undercover school. They're the ones who taught me how to roll a joint. So I rolled a joint. And I was super paranoid, right? Because I'm a narcotics officer, and I'm Barry Cooper. And I had a big name there, so there's no way I could get caught. I couldn't get caught, is what I mean. So I remember a chimney in this log cabin we were living in, and I started smoking and blowing it into the chimney so it'd go up and out. And I got high, and I loved it. My wife hated it. She just has a personality where she never looked inward. Still doesn't. That was our problem. That's why I divorced her. She wouldn't look inward and fix herself, and that's what cannabis tends to do. It makes you see yourself. I absolutely loved it. Well, that opened the door to cocaine. It's a gateway drug. That's a bullshit argument. The gateway argument. So, I think the next weekend or shortly thereafter, I'm like, let's try this cocaine. And I did. My wife and I tried it, and we loved it. And I didn't know back then that you could have the best sex of your life while on cocaine. Didn't know that. I already thought I was having pretty good sex. I'd been married, 8-9 years, so I had a lot of experience with my wife, right? So we did the cocaine, and then we played around, and then all of a sudden we're like, let's go make love. And holy guacamole, that's what got me hooked on drugs. When I became a methamphetamine addict, it was the good sex. People don't talk about that, but I was addicted to the sex. So I had the best sex of my life with my wife, so we did it again and again and again and again. And pretty soon, the ounce of cocaine that Gladewater Police Department had checked out to me for canine training, it was a half ounce all of a sudden. It went from 28 grams to 14 grams. This is over a period of maybe 4 weekends. So I'm like, oh shit, we got to stop this. And then I liked it so much, I thought I was addicted already. I thought I was addicted. I mistook the enjoyment I was having and wanting to do it again for addiction. I thought that was addiction because I wanted to go do it again so bad, right? So I quit. I smacked it with baking soda up to 28 grams, and I went and put it in my desk drawer at the police department because I used to keep it at my home. Well, then a funny thing started happening. My wife started visiting me for lunch. She never would do that. She visited me for lunch several times. It turns out she confessed to my pastor that when she was visiting me at the police department for those luncheons, she would sneak in my drawer and scoop some of that cocaine out. And her girlfriend were doing the cocaine and in the bedroom together without me knowing. So all of a sudden something weird happened. I was being accused of doing drugs or selling drugs or something like that. So they took my cocaine. They took all my training aids. They weighed all of it. It was fine. But then we got popped with a drug test. And this was right after I became a Christian, right? So after I did the cocaine, I became a Christian. And then they get me for a drug test. They're going to test the whole department. And I'm like, oh, shit. The king of drug enforcement in East Texas is about to go down for peeing dirty for cannabis and cocaine. So I prayed, Lord, if this is how you want me to go down, if this is how you're going to humble me, I'll accept it. But please get me out of this. So they didn't have the internet back then where I could go on and figure out how to pass a drug test. But I remember all the people I had arrested told me to drink a lot of water right before you pee. I'll never forget it. So I had to go up to the Gladewater Police Department on my day off. And there were, 30, 40, 50 cups of urine sitting on the table. And then it was my turn. I took the cup. I went into the bathroom. They had poured blue coloring in the toilets and told us not to flush. So there wasn't any way I could scoop it. I had to pee in the cup. And I also knew not to catch that first pee that came out. So I started the stream, then put my cup in, put the cap on. I walked out. I set it on the desk. And not only the chief of police, but the city manager walked over, picked up my sample and looked at it and set it back down. And I'm like, I am toast. Had to wait 3 days to get the results. I wish they would have given me the results right then, because that 3 days was torture. Guess what? I passed. Couldn't believe it. I passed. But you know who failed? My pastor. The guy who led me to the Lord was also a police officer. He was our chaplain, and he peed dirty for like heroin or something. He claimed it was the poppy seeds, that it was poppy seeds. He didn't get in trouble. So then I learned my wife was stealing the cocaine. So I had to take her to my pastor, and we got her unaddicted to cocaine through prayer. She wasn't even addicted to cocaine. She just liked it like I did. So shortly after that, because it gave me an understanding of doing the cannabis and the cocaine, I'm like, I can't arrest people for this anymore. And I didn't. I didn't make one more cocaine arrest, not one more marijuana arrest. Now, I arrested people for methamphetamine. It's still hypocritical. But I didn't make one more arrest after that, because I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I didn't want to be the cop that's doing the drugs and then arresting other people for it. That's horrible. It was already bad enough me doing the drugs. Now arresting others for it is just like shitty. And I've always had a really kind spirit and a good moral compass. My mother taught me that. You say, how do you have a moral compass and be a drug agent? Well, I thought I was doing right. This was back before the internet. And what they taught me was the drug war is just and the people are evil, and I'm helping the community. Everybody taught me that. My mom, my dad, the schools, my pastor, my peers, TV. And that's all we had to go by. So I thought I was doing the right thing. But I only worked 2 more months after that, and I started my car dealership and didn't become a cop since. So that's my taking the drug story. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, let's watch this cop. By the way, I never acted like this other cop.